Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. Amin. If we are honest, in my opinion, we can observe that politicians, our government leaders, thrive on disharmony. Their job is to deal with disharmony. They do not know very well how to create harmony. Although they say they do, they actually don't. Malaysia is certainly a good example of that. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. When my advisor, a prominent sociologist, Professor Said Hussein Alatas, first advised me on writing my PhD on the unitary culture of Central Java, he said, when I asked him about that, he said, it's too broad. Stay away from politics and economics. Others have already exhausted the subjects. So we discussed what then? I was trained before Muslim. I became Muslim in 1970, for your information. I'm a very old Muslim by conversion standards. I was trained as a concert pianist. I played classical piano in various formats. So he suggested Islamic aesthetics. Aesthetics is not too well known as a topic of debate or discussion, but I thought it was a good idea because it gave me a very good reason to come to Jawa Tengah and focus on the conversion of Javanese aesthetics from pre-Muslim to Muslim times. And that's what I did. Okay, this is for later. Just leave that there. I'll get to this one in a moment. We have in Indonesia the history of the Wali Songo, the 9 saints of Java. And the model of cultural interaction was very peaceful. The 9 saints of Java came to Hindu and Buddha communities in the interior of Java, where we are now, and took the existing cultures and modified them in certain ways in order to teach the new monotheistic principles. And they seem to have succeeded in doing that. We have everywhere. We have in Jogja the Uwin Sunakali Jogo, and so forth and so on. All over the country, we have memories of these brilliant teachers. Okay, now we need to go back to. Okay, one more. Well, that's just an introduction. One more. Okay, this is what I have just explained to you. If you ask 10 mu'alaf why they became Muslim, my observation is 9 out of 10 will say the first attraction to Islamic monotheism was aesthetic. The first attraction was hearing the azan, seeing the masajid, and also the dress. Many people do not care for Western dressing styles, and these mu'alaf were among them. So I felt that an analysis of the aesthetic elements was important to understanding the contribution, especially the Javanese contribution, to regional and inter-regional harmony. This was a model. Next one. What is this? Okay, well, that's, you can read that one. And then, what I'm saying to summarize this is the disturbance of our human race right now is our failure, if I speak as Muslims, but I could also speak, I believe, as political leaders, to apply this Wali Songo, or the Nine Saints, continuity model. It's a model of continuity from one culture to another culture. It's not a model of confrontation. And someone asked me about this talk, and I said, well, this will be coexistence of Muslim and non-Muslims. This is a very huge problem we have ever since Palestine, and then after that, Osama bin Laden. We have this subgroup of Muslims who believe that confrontation is the only way to relate. And of course, as an artist, I think they are completely mistaken, to put it mildly. Actually, I think they are criminally psychotic, but don't tell anybody I said that. Okay, we have, and this is what happens. This is the result of the confrontation model. The Jogjanese are very proud, the Jogja youth, I notice, of their demonstrations in the street and flag waving and making a tremendous amount of noise, which to an artist is very unpleasant. Noise does not appeal to me, and they go, as you know, with the motorbikes, they go, roo, 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 roo. I say, what do they think they're doing? Do they think they will get our support from this? Well, I don't agree with that. So we have the ISIS people also doing their chopping the heads and interfering with older cultures. I don't agree with any of that. But our young people, and even European young people are joining ISIS now, fail to recognize in our leadership, the adults and parents, any successful alternative to the lack of humanity in the world today. We have 8 billion human beings, and finding jobs is almost impossible. Holding families together is almost impossible. If I may say one thing about my home country, which is America, the disintegration of American culture, in my opinion, began precisely in 1957 with the invention of the birth control pill. Because this birth control pill put the responsibility for pregnancy on the shoulders of the women, no longer with the men. So if your girlfriend got pregnant, you say, well, your fault, you forgot to take your pill. That is precisely what happened. And the whole family structure has been going downhill ever since then, although not in middle America. I always speak for urban America, Chicago, Los Angeles, California, and so forth. One more, please. What is this? What is this? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I have to. Oh. Yeah, well, I wanted to focus on the Javanese contribution to Islamic harmony, but my Malaysian supervisors turned it around, said I have to focus on the Islamic contribution to Indonesian harmony. But this was one of my points, that there are concepts in Javanese culture which would be very helpful if we understand that kasar is bad. All that noise is bad. All those motorcycles going is not good. It is unaesthetic, and it doesn't really lead to a peaceful or effective solution to the problem. I myself collected from right here in Solo, from one of the old singers of Lagu-Lagu Lama, the Javanese melodies written by one of the Nine Saints, Sunan Derajat. And I've almost been forgotten, because as these old singers die, the young people, they're only interested in modernization. So, do I have time? More time? You have to tell me when the 10 minutes is up, because I don't really have a clock here. Okay, I see. So this is a collection of Lagu-Lagu Lama, which I wanted to exist, because you used to find this in the streets of Jogja, And you used to find these melodies were designed to purify the heart. They were designed to move the culture of animism and polytheism in the direction of Islam, one God. And I just say, see, this is what we have to do. We are academics. We talk a lot, but we have to actually do things like this. So this is available for people, the young people, if they're interested. And to listen to these it's not easy, because modern culture is accustomed very quick cut editing on television and movies, so the mind, the thinking doesn't focus on anything, and the concentration is destroyed. So our young people have a lot of damage done by us. Boy, I guess that's the hint, huh? Thank you. One other point. In addition to the Wali Songo, I want to mention one Jewish philosopher, psychologist named Fritz Perls, whose main principle was this: if you want somebody to change their ways, before you can hope to change those ways, you must accept their ways exactly as they are. You must understand and empathize what they understand and what they believe. If you don't accept, you cannot change them. And many of us in Islam and outside, really, we're not patient with that. We want immediately to change things, but we don't care very much. And as an American, I may plead, people often don't understand the positive sides of my culture, my former culture as well. The Americans have contributed a tremendous amount to human civilization and should be respected for such. Everything you use, your hand phones, your fax machines, your automobiles, airplanes, everything, all that kind of stuff comes from the freedom of thinking that developed in America. The discovery of electricity itself was by Benjamin Franklin. I can't say it's all good, so was the harnessing of nuclear power. But, well, we have to deal with that. Okay, next, please. I just don't want to... No. Back to the number 6. Number 6. We have a very interesting new book. You can get this from Gramedia. No. You had it there a moment ago. Number 6. Yeah. This is a Jewish, what do you call them? Rabbi, and a Muslim imam. And they've got together and they've written this book to try to show what we have in common. They emphasized Judaism, not Zionism. And please remember the difference. Only the Zionists fight about Israel. The Jewish religious people, who are my friends, have special family dinners on Friday night and go to the temple. And in the temple there is nothing to disturb a Muslim. There's no pictures, there's no symbols, there's a few candles and a book, the Torah. That's it. I once went into one of these synagogues in San Francisco, and I was amazed at how clean it was, to me, as a Muslim. So this book came out, and I don't know whether you, I'm sympathetic with the Palestinians too, but that's a different problem. Okay, I just wanted you to know about it. Okay, next. Go on, I think there's a... it's important for Indonesians especially to notice this study, that the happiness of cultures depends upon narrowing the gap of the rich and the poor. It doesn't depend on technology, yes or no. It doesn't depend on this and that and the other. But the one factor that they can correlate with human happiness is the gap between the rich and the poor must be lowered. If it's still very great, as you all can see in Jakarta very easily, very rich people living next to the very poor, then you've got a serious problem. So that is for the politicians, the economists, and also the imams and the Jewish leaders, rabbis, to solve. And I hope, and may Allah help us all to solve these problems. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.